Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF, KIDDUSHIN DAF Lametes. So in the Mishnah we had learned mitzvahs which are growth, farm, land related. Mitzvahs which are tuluyos ba'aretz typically are indeed specific to Eretz Yisrael. However, we have some exceptions to the rule. The Mishnah mentioned Orla, which, as we learned yesterday, is actually subject to machlokes. Why? Why, in fact, does it apply in Chutz La'aretz as well? Some say it's just a minhag, which is actually not even a echiv midrabanan. It was just a custom which was practiced even in Chutz La'aretz. Whereas others learned that it's actually an obligation. Halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Here comes a third shita. So on Lamed Tes Amud Aleph, 8 lines from the top. Amri Charifi de Pumbedisa. The sharp ones of Pumbedisa stated as follows. And Rashi brings the Gemara in Sanhedrin. Actually, it's a reference to two Chachamim. One by the name of Efa, the other Avimi, who were both sons of Ruchava de Pumbedisa. So they're called the sharp ones in Pumbedisa. They maintain as follows. There is no Chiv of Arla in Chutz La'aretz. Even with Rabbanim. Ein Arla b'Chutz La'aretz. You can have your fruit right at the first year, no din of Arla. So yesterday we had a shita which says that there is Arla in Chutz La'aretz, but it depends if it's Vaday Arla or just a Safek Arla. Today we learn, according to these shitas, there's no concern of Arla in Chutz La'aretz. Shalcha Rabbi Yehuda, so Rabbi Yehuda sent this opinion, l'kamed Rabbi Yehuda. He presented it to Rabbi Yehuda. There are those who negate Arla in Chutz La'aretz. Shalach Lehi responded very harshly. Susaim sfeika va'abed va'da'a. If it's vaday Arla, if it's certainly Arla, it must be destroyed. Go destroy it. And even when it's a Safek Arla, there's an uncertainty as to whether it's in fact, Arla, it's the second year, 30, we're not sure. Where it's really mutter, because as we learned yesterday, the halacha was in fact, taught in this way, that it's only vaday Arla, but not Safek Arla. But sisoim, Sfeika, which means don't publicize it. We don't want people, don't be mefarsim, don't publicize it publicly, because as Rashi says, there are those that are just, going to take it lightly. The whole concept of Arla, they'll take it lightly. So don't let it be known that in fact, Safek Arla is mutter. Number 3, v'hachreiz al perisein shetu'unim gniza. So firstly he says, look, Safek is mutter, but don't publicize it. When it's a vaday, of course it has to be destroyed. You can't go and, yesterday we had those who flipped it, right? He served him the Arla without knowing he served it him, to him, meaning it became a status of Safek. Abed vado, you can't do that. That's going too far. I can't serve, my guest Arla and have it, have him consume the Arla unbeknown to him. You can't do that. Even though to him it's only a Safek. That's going too far. And in fact, those who take a lenient approach to Arla, they disregard Arla Chutz La'aretz, declare their peiros to be usher, they have to be, destroyed, put away. And in fact, if a person claims that there's no Arla in Chutz La'aretz, that's terrible. He should be punished. He should have no descendants, no offspring. You shouldn't have any descendants who get a portion in Hashem's nation. Basically, he should be cut off. So that was Rabbi Yechonon's very harsh response to this lenient approach to Arla and Chutz La'aretz. V'inu kaman savrua. So what were they thinking? Why in fact did they negate Arla and Chutz La'aretz? This is back to the Charifi de Pumbedisa. Answers the Gemara. They were relying on a specific shita. Ki hada sanya, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Yesi, Omer Mishum Rabbi Yesi ben Moscow. He quotes Rabbi Yesi, who quotes a different Rabbi Yesi, She'amar Mishum Rabbi Yesi Aglili, who quotes another Tana, Sha'amar Mishum Rabbi Yehuda ben Nuri, Sha'amar Mishum Elazar Gadol, Ein Arla b'chutz la'aretz. Period. You're outside Eretz Yisrael, don't be concerned with Arla. Really? Wallahi? Is that so that there's no Arla outside Eretz Yisrael? V'anan Tanan, Rabbi Lezo Eimer Af HaChadash. In our Mishnah we had two shittas. Tanakama and Rabbi Eliezer, right? Tanakama says Arla and Kalayim apply even in Chutz La'aretz. Rabbi Eliezer says Af HaChadash. The new crop of grain is also off limits until the Eimer, whether you're in Eretz Yisrael or in Chutz La'aretz. But he's adding that to the list on top of Arla. So all seem to agree that Arla is applicable wherever you are. Answers the Gemara Tani Chadash. Let's modify the wording of the Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer comes back and he says like this: Tanakama, you hold that Arla and Kalayim apply even Chutz La'aretz? No. Only Chadash. Because by Chadash it says Mashvei Seichem. Mashvei Seichem means wherever. Kol Makim Shatam Yeshim, internationally. As opposed to Arla v'Kalayim, those are classic mitzvahs hatluyas ba'aretz, which are specific to Eretz Yisrael. And in fact, Charif and Pumbedisa were relying on Rabbi Elazar's shita. Arla is only in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, now let's shift gears to Kilayim. Is it specific to Eretz Yisrael or not? Amar Ba'asi, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Arla b'chutz la'aretz, halacha l'moshe Sinai. So Rabbi Yechanan is of the opinion that Arla is relevant even in Chutz La'aretz based on halacha l'moshe Sinai. And soon we're going to go into Kilayim as well. Okay? Amar le Rab Zera le Rabasi. So yes, it's kasha. You're quoting Rabbi Yechanan. Arla applies even in Chutz La'aretz. V'atanya or v'atanan. Suffix Arla. Let's say there's a suffix, whether or not it's the third Arla or not. Depends where you are. Be'eretz, if you're in Eretz Yisrael, Asr, you can't have it because it might be Asr. Be'Surya, Mutter. Outside Eretz Yisrael, it's Mutter. B'chutz La'aretz, you're like it. We had this discussion yesterday. If you're telling me that Halacha l'moshe Sinai dictates to us that Arla is active in Chutz La'aretz, so how can you be lenient when it's a suffix Arla? Playing with fire. It might be Asr. So you're stumped for a moment. You have an answer. Amalei, so after thinking for a moment, he says, you know what? Eima, let us propose as follows. Kach, nema. Let's just say like this, that the halacha l'moshe Sinai was in fact established in this manner. Only when it's certainly Arla. Then it's Asr and Chutz La'aretz. But when there's a suffix, when there's any degree of uncertainty involved, it's mutter. That's the way the halacha was established. Sveika mutter, vada Asr. So that explains why when it's a suffix, it's okay, even though when it's a vada, it's Asr. Amar Asr Rabbi Yechon. It comes the next statement from the same on the Amar. Loikin ala kalayim dvar Torah. Even the Chutz La'aretz. If one is uncareful with kilayim, mixing different species, there is a malchus, min ha-Torah. Kilayim applies even in Chutz La'aretz, min ha-Torah. Amalei Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yossi. So he asked him a question. We have the Mishnah which says, this is in Maseches Arla, ha-Kilayim divrei sefer. Kilayim outside Eretz Yisrael is only Asr midrabanan. How can you say you get malchus min ha-Torah? Like Kash, the answer is like this. Depends what type of Kilayim. There are all different types. Crossbreeding animals, grafting trees. Kilai hakerem, mixing plants in a vineyard. Kilai zroy, mixing up just plants on their own. All different types. There's shatnez on clothing. So it depends what. Loikash. Kan bekilai hakerem. Kan bar kavas ilan. The only kilayim that applies in Chutz La'aretz, only a farm-based kilayim is grafting trees. And that's what Rabbi Yechanan had in mind. Malchus applies regarding kilayim even in Chutz La'aretz if one grafts trees. But otherwise, kilay hakerem, that's okay in Chutz La'aretz. Kiddush Shmuel, how do we know that this is true? How do we know that Harakava Se'ilan is more strict and applies everywhere? Kiddush Shmuel, Damar Shmuel. We have a pasuk which says, "Es chukoisai tishmeru." This is in Vayikra Yates, and continues, "Behem tchaleis arbia kilayim." Don't crossbreed animals. Sad tchaleis are kilayim. Ubeget kilayim shatnes lo yalalech, which is an interesting form of expression. Typically, we say, "Ushmartem," es chukoisai. Hashem says, "Adhere to my laws." Here it's es chukoisai, almost sounding like those laws had been already established beforehand. It's making a reference to previously known laws. Es chukoisai, those laws, tishmeiru, you should adhere to. It's coming to teach us that even prior to Kabbalah Satir, the B'nai Noach already had some of these mitzvahs. Crossbreeding animals, grafting trees, mixing up, distinct entities, like animals, like trees. That was relevant even to the B'nai Noach. So according to this brisa, the B'nai Noach have more than 7 mitzvahs. They can't crossbreed and make harkavas eilan. Es chukoisai tishmoiru chukim shechakakti lecha kvar. What is that? And the pasuk continues. For instance, behemtcha leisarbir kilayim, sadcha leisar kilayim, and we equate the two, crossbreeding animals to confusing species within the farm, structure. Ma behemtcha bahar bo, av sadcha bahar kava. Just like kilayim, which is relevant to animals, denotes crossbreeding. So we're speaking about two distinct entities being mixed up. Likewise, the kilayim alluded to in this pasuk regarding growth-related mix-ups is speaking about mixing up two distinct entities, not just like plants that are just take two trees that are distinct entities and you mix them up, you graft them with each other. You're not meant to mix up two species. And we go further. We make another equation, just like kilayim b'behema. It's nothing to do with farms and growing and land, and it's personal. It's chayvas haguf. It's on the person, and therefore it's international. It applies everywhere. Likewise, this form of kilayim relating to the sada, crossbreeding trees, noyeg bein ba'aretz bein chutz la'aretz, applies everywhere. And that's how we get to the halacha that our kavas ilon applies even in chutz la'aretz. Velo aksiv sadacha. But the question is, the pasuk does seem to speak about a specific territory. Sadacha le'sizur kilayim, your designated territory, meaning the God-given land of Eretz Yisrael. Rashi says, hiknu min hashamayim, something given to you by heaven. So how can you say it's even outside Eretz Yisrael? Well, that's going on a very specific realm of kilayim. Velo aksiv sadacha hu lemut Yisraelim shebechutz la'aretz. It's coming to tell you that other types of mixing up seeds and plants, vegetables, that is only in Eretz Yisrael itself. There, the species and the types are meant to be kept distinct and separate. But on chutz la'aretz, no concern of kilai Yisraelim and kilai hakerim and chutz la'aretz, but kilai behema and kilai ha'ilon apply everywhere. Continues the Gemara. There was a story involving Rav Chanan, Rav Anan. These two were walking along the road. They noticed this fellow, Dal Gavro, the Kazar Ezraim Badi, he was mixing up vegetables and seeds, and this was in chutz la'aretz. Amar lei. So Rav Anan turns to Rav Chanan. Nesi mar neshamte. Do you want to join me and put him into cherem? Excommunicate him. Look, he's negating the laws of kilayim. Amar lei, he responded, actually, you're incorrect. Lo chavriso. You're not clear on the halachas. It's incorrect. It's chutz la'aretz. There's no din of kilai Yisraelim in chutz la'aretz, even with the Rabbanon. Another story that occurred with the same individuals was Su Chazul Al-Gaber. They saw his fellow Kazara Chitivis Ari Begufni. This was a bit more severe. He was taking wheat and barley seeds and planting it amongst the vines. Kilai HaKerem. Amar Leis, he turned to him, Nesi Mar Neshamtis. Once again, he asked him to join him and put this person into Cherem. Amar Leis, so Rav Chanan responds, Leitzarisu, the halachas of kilayim apparently are not clear to you. Don't you know that it's not a problem when he does it this way? Like Carmel and Krav Yosha, don't we know we rule like Rabbi Yeshua. The Amor tells us that even in Eretz Yisrael, in order to make Kalai HaKerem, you have to actually take a wheat kernel, let's say a barley kernel, and a grape seed. All three together, in one toss of the hand, basically means to say that you have to actually create a trio. So if you have a pre-existing vine, and you just put, you simply put other species next to it, that's not called Kalai HaKerem. Rashi says, the pasuk is, don't plant a kerem with kilayim. Don't create a mixed up vineyard. That's the isser. As opposed to this fellow, who is simply planting other types in a pre-existing, next to a pre-existing vine, there's no isser. So despite the fact that it was a vineyard, which is more severe, we're going to see in a minute, but this fellow wasn't doing anything wrong. Continues the Gemara. Rav Yosef ma'arev bizrani bizara. In fact, Rav Yosef in Chutz La'aretz would mix up various types of plants and plant them together. Only Abaye, so Abaye asks him, but the Mishnah says it's asamid rabbanon. Ha kilayim d'risayfrim. Amalei, he says it depends which kilayim. Like kash, kam b'kalai ha kerem, kam b'kalai Yisrael. Kalai ha kerem, which involves mixing up the vineyard, that's more severe. And that applies even outside Eretz Yisrael, with the Rabbanan. But Kalai Yisrael, ordinary plants, you can mix them up as you wish if you're in Chutz La'aretz. Why? What's the difference? Kalai HaKerem, that's a higher level of Kalai. The Ba'eretz, if it's done in Eretz Yisrael, why? It becomes Asur, even Bahano, Asurim Bahano. You can't even have any benefit from those plants. And therefore, since they're so high and so severe, Chutz La'aretz, Nami Gazur Rabbanan applied Exer, even Chutz La'aretz, lest it come to the actual Isser of Eretz Yisrael. But Kalai Yisrael, mixing up plants and vegetables, which are basically a lower level of Kalayim, even Eretz Yisrael. The bears, lo asir ba'ano, they're asir to plant, but they can be enjoyed and consumed once planted and grown. They don't stand as high, and therefore, Chutz La'aretz, Nami l'goz Rabban did not seek to apply Gzeir and Chutz La'aretz on this lower level Kalayim. And therefore, Rav Yosef took the liberty to do Kalai Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz without any issue. Hadam Rav Yosef. Then Rav Yosef came around and says, 1 second, I regret what I did. Because it appears that even Kilai Yisrael is Asr and Chutz La'aretz. Lav Musa, Hida Amri. What I said was incorrect. Look, the Rav had a Beis Medrash, a yeshiva, Zora Ginsa de Rav, Mishari. He would arrange that the vegetable garden outside his Beis Medrash was planted very orderly, very organized. Separate rows. Each a type of vegetable, per row. My time, and why did he have to do that? Apparently he was concerned about mixing up kilayim. And this was even in Babel. So you see that even ordinary kilayim is prohibited in Babel. Abai says no. Who says that was his motive? There's a halacha in Mesachas Kilayim, Mesachas Shabbos actually, in both Shabbos and Kilayim, that you can take one patch, a small patch, barely 6 tfachim square, and plant 5 different types of vegetables or seeds, whatever. So if Rav was concerned with Hilchas Kilayim, he would have looked after it that way. He would have planted it in a way that there's sufficient distance between the different types. And that's all. He wouldn't have actually done really separate, distinct patches, one per type. If it's just a matter of the Kilayim concern. Apparently the reason why he did it this way had nothing to do with Kilayim. It was unrelated to Kilayim. Why do you go to that extent to make separate rows? It was just for aesthetic reasons. They should have a nice, pretty garden outside the Beis Medrash, which broadens their horizons. That was it. Nothing to do with Kilayim. Kilayim is really mutter and Chutz La'aretz. Another reason could be so as not to burden the attendant who goes out to pick the vegetables every day. That's why he knows there are the tomatoes, the cucumbers, but it's unrelated to Kilayim. So bottom line is, regarding Kilayim and Chutz La'aretz, we have many forms of Kilayim. Kilai behema, asr. Kalai ilon asr. Kalai kerem olim midrabanan. Kalai zraim are mutar. Continues the Mishnah. Kalai mitzvah achas. If one even fulfills one mitzvah, metivan loy, he gets rewarded in this world, Rashi says. Umarichan lo yamav. He has longevity. And the Rambam says it's going on Olam Haba, eternal life. Rashi says, again, this is Chai Olam Haba, eternal life. So he inherits eternity by doing just one mitzvah. But if one turns down the opportunity to do a mitzvah, he loses all that. So the Mishnah seems to say that mitzvahs will grant a person reward in this world as well as the next world. Ramini, here comes a kasha. Only certain very specific, unique mitzvahs, primarily bin adam l'chabere, between man and his friend, interpersonal mitzvahs, those have this special quality of double pay. You benefit long-term and short-term. But your typical mitzvah doesn't have that power. Ramini, elu dvarim, right? We say this every morning. Elu dvarim she'adam eichel peresein b'elam hazeh. Only the following activities, the following mitzvahs, generate double reward, fringe benefits in this world, with the actual reward remaining for Olam Haba. Eluhain. It's only the following list. Right? Bringing peace between man and his neighbor. On top of the pyramid is Torah. So the bottom line is, it's not for your typical mitzvah. And the Mishnah seems to say otherwise. Rabbi Yehuda. The Mishnah didn't mean that, one mitzvah gives it to you. It means like this. Kala oisa mitzvah achas. Yisera al Zchur Yosef. If a person does one extra mitzvah to bring him from 50 to 51%, right? So he's at 50-50. Mitzvahs and Averis half-half. He does one extra mitzvah which tips the scale. Now he's deserving of schar even in this world. Metivan lay v'dayme ki mishemakayim is called Torah kul. So he gets a benefit even in this world, as though he fulfilled the entire Torah. So that's what our Mishnah is speaking about. Whereas the other Mishnah in Peah, which gives us a limited list of certain specific mitzvahs, which generate a special benefit, is speaking about, it would seem at this point, before the next piece of the Gemara, it would seem that just doing kibbutz avim, even if you're not at 51%, that in itself gives you the double benefit of schar in Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. And that's the Gemara's next kash. So you mean to say regarding those special activities, afilu b'chad nami, even if he's totally, saturated with sins and averis, just doing, kibbutz avim one time gives you all this benefit? Amar of Shmaya, of course not. Loimar, the mission just means like this. You need to tip the scale to get all these goodies. But when the Mishnah singles out kibbutz avim and ches and all that, loimar sheim hoysa shkula machras, means like this. Let's say he's exactly at 50%, 50-50, right? But amongst the 50% of his merits, of his chuyos, of his mitzvahs, he has, is contained one of those mitzvahs, whether it's kibbutz avim, chasadim, etc. Machras, it tips the scale because of its uniqueness. Okay, so basically, according to this approach in the Gemara, when a person is mostly good, he's rewarded in this world as well. And we have certain unique mitzvahs which sort of allow him to sort of almost tip the scale, even though he's not really deserving of that tipping. Says the Gemara, do you mean to say that if he's at 51%, he has more mitzvahs than Averis, then he is rewarded even in this world? Raminu, listen to this brisa, which seems to say otherwise. There's no schar in this world at all. In fact, sometimes it appears Quite the contrary. A person who's actually on the right path may face very difficult challenges and Yisurim to cleanse him and prepare him for eternity. And actually, a person who misbehaves, sometimes he enjoys a good experience in this world, and it's meant to, pay him for the good things that he did and rid him from eternity. A person has more mitzvahs than averos. He can have very difficult patches in this world. And his life would resemble a person who totally violated the Torah. Like he burnt the entire Torah without leaving even one letter intact. That's what his life looked like. In shambles. A big tzaddik. A difficult life. Rashi explains. Hashem is looking to give him eternity. Schar shalom. And therefore he faces challenges and difficulties. And tsar and yisurim chas v'shalom lo yoleinu, to facilitate that eternal reward. Because it's impossible that a person should be perfect. So Hashem cleanses him in preparation for that eternal bliss. And conversely, sometimes you have a person who's mostly averis. This fellow is enjoying life as though he kept the entire Torah without missing a beat. So this brisa seems to indicate that there's no concept of reward in this world. You have to wait patiently for that eternal schar. Whereas in our Mishnah, we have mitiv and loy, which Rashi says seems to be referring to Olam Hazeh. Amar Abaye masnisin de'avdin lo yem tavi yem bish. Just the opposite. You have to relearn our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is consistent with the brisa. There's no concept of schar in Olam Hazeh. When the Mishnah says mitiv and loy, it means that from Shemayim, Hashem cleanses him in order to prepare him for that eternal Yom Tov. And that's a person who's on a good track. Whereas a person who's on a bad track, he is a mitiv and loy. By him, they prepare him for the Einish Lasalavai, and therefore in Olam Hazeh, he gets some schar to address his good deeds, and then he's susceptible to the Einish Lasalavai. So Abaye relearns our Mishnah in a way that is consistent with the brisa. There's no concept of schar in this world. It's all during Olam Haba. Rava disagrees. Rava Amar Hamani Rabbi Yaakov. It's actually a machlekes Tanaim, big machlekes. Our Mishnah holds that there is a concept of giving some sort of schar in Olam Hazeh, even for ordinary mitzvahs, not just for kibbutz avim. Even ordinary mitzvahs. Person is mostly good. He gets some fringe benefits of Olam Hazeh. The brisa, which seems to indicate that there's no concept of reward in this world. That's Rabbi Yaakov. The Amar schar mitzvah b'hayamaleka. The concept of reward is so beyond our imagination. It just can't fit into this world. There's no concept of schar for a mitzvah in this world. The sign Rabbi Yaakov Omer, ein l'chokol mitzvah sheksuv b'Torah. You look around the Torah. There is no concept of a mitzvah. Every mitzvah that has even an expression, a description of reward stated together with the mitzvah. Shematan schara b'tzida. You should know it's not literally in this world. She'ein tchias hamesim tluya, but every schar depends on tchias hamesim. It's all in the long term. For instance, b'kibbutz avim. Pasuk says, "Ksiv l'man yarichon yamecha," right? L'man yitav lecha, which almost sounds like in this world. Another example, b'shluch hakein, right? You send away the mother bird before you take the kids. What does it say? Ksiv l'man yitav lecha v'rachta yamim. This world? You may think so, but listen to this. Imagine, Hareisha Amar Lei Aviv. A father instructs his son. This is kibbutz avim, right? Please go get me some birds. Alei labira v'haveli gazelis. Go up and climb up to the, up the building. Get me the pigeons. Get me the birds. V'al labira. The boy complies, climbs up there. V'shilach haseim. Gets the birds. In fact, he fulfills another mitzvah by doing shluch hakein. So he did a double mitzvah. Both which come along with the promise of Arichos Yamim. And what happens to him? He never made it back alive. Uba Chaziros, on his way back down, Nafal Umeis. An accident happened, he passed away. So I ask you, says Rabbi Yaakov, Heichan Tevas Yamav Shalzeh? Veichan Arichos Yamav Shalzeh? Where's the goodness promised him? Where's the longevity? So you must say that when the Torah speaks about longevity, it means real longevity, eternal longevity. Elo L'manitav L'cha means where it's really good. We really have that good experience. La'olam shekulei toiv, olam haba. And what does Laman Yuchan Mecha mean? La'olam shekulei yarech. The real eternal longevity. Hence, says Rabbi Yaakov, it wouldn't make sense otherwise. It's olam haba. How does Rabbi Yaakov know this? V'dilma lav hachi hava. Maybe it's untrue, meaning it would never happen. In fact, if a father sent his son up to it wouldn't happen that he would die on the way back. How does Rabbi Yaakov know? He's working with the hanacha, with the notion that it's true. It actually happened. Rabbi Yaakov himself witnessed it. Rabbi Yaakov Masachaza. He noticed this type of story, and therefore brought him to this conclusion. Asks the Gemara, but although externally he noticed this type of episode, but you never know what's going on inside this person's heart. V'dilma meharer ba'avera hava. Maybe this son, in his heart, was engaged in inappropriate thoughts, and perhaps that's why he wasn't deserving of coming back alive. Rashi says, he wasn't really fully engaged in the mitzvah. Answers the Gemara, well, a thought, machshava ra, ein hakadosh baruch hu mitzarfa l'maas. Hashem does not consider a thought as though he did an evil act, meaning it wouldn't bring him to such a severe punishment. Asks the Gemara, you know what? Maybe he was thinking about avodah zara, where even thoughts and feelings and emotions play a role. We're accountable even for avodah zara thoughts. So maybe that's what he was engaged in. Therefore, he wasn't successful. Answer: that's exactly Rabbi Yaakov's point. If there is a concept of reward in this world, then he should never have come to avodah zara. He was engaged in the mitzvah. It should have protected him. Why didn't the mitzvah protect him? So that he doesn't come to this type of emotional engagement. And that proves my point, says Rabbi Yaakov. There's no concept of schar in this world, and therefore even if it's true that he was engaged in thoughts of avodah zara, it still proves my point, because the fact that he wasn't protected from those thoughts, the mitzvah didn't repel those thoughts, proves my point. Schar v'mitzvah is for olam haba. Now we have another kash on this story. How could it be that he was harmed en route to a mitzvah? Amar Belazar, Shaluchei mitzvah, ein nizoiken. Harm does not befall an individual en route to a mitzvah. Hasam alei chasan shani. Rabbi Lezer is speaking en route to the mitzvah, but in our case, he had completed the mitzvah. He was done. He was on his way back, and therefore the concept doesn't apply. No. There's no harm befalling them both ways. Whether it's going there or returning, you're protected. Sulam Ra'u Ahava was a shaky ladder, the Kaviyah Zeka, which is bound to bring about harm. And in such situations where harm is imminent, we cannot rely on an ace, and he wasn't protected. As we find in the pasuk, when Hashem instructs Shmuel Hanavi to go anoint David HaMelech, Vayomer Shmuel, Vayomer Shmuel, Eich Eilech, how am I expected to go? V'shama Shol, Varagani Shol, get wind that I'm coming to anoint David, his competitor, will kill me. Right? Despite the fact that Hashem is sending him, Shluach Mitzvah, par excellence, apparently. when danger is imminent, you can't rely on it. Rabbi Yosef. An afternote to the story. Ilmali darshe acher lahaykra. If only Acher, famous Acher, who was Elisha ben Avuya, who strayed from the path, what brought him to stray? What happened to him? If only he would have interpreted the psukim of Arichos Yamim by Kibbutz Avim like his grandson, Rabbi Yaakov, who just did that, right? Rabbi Yaakov, who was Bar Barti, son of his daughter, if only he would have followed his own grandson's footsteps in terms of interpreting this, this topic here. He wouldn't have sinned. What happened? What's the background here? What happened with Acher? Some say he witnessed this very same episode, this type of story, where a child was sent off and not returned, and it led him to question the entire Torah and the authenticity of the Torah. But in reality, he could have clearly reconciled it based on his grandson's interpretation. There's another version as to what happened. What turned him off? Lishna, the chutzpis, hamaturgaman chaza. He saw the tongue of the famous Tana, chutzpis hamaturgaman, who was the speaker, and he was one of the 10 that were killed by the Romans, Asar Rugi Malchus. So he saw his tongue, of a gurleit, of a pig was dragging it on the ground. Omar, he said, Peh, Shevik Magorlis, how could it be? A mouth which spewed and produced beautiful pearls and taught Torah, lachach offer, will now be dragged on the offer, nafak chata. That turned him off so severely, and he went and he strayed from the Torah path. Continues the Mishnah. Rami bar Tuvi bar Rav Kessler. So Rav Tuvi bar Rav Kessler asked a question, l'Rava. Tanan, the Mishnah says, Kol ha'isa mitzvah achas, right? Our Mishnah, you do one mitzvah, metivan loy. You do a mitzvah, great. Only if you do a mitzvah, asa in, loy asa loy. But if you did not actually do a mitzvah, you don't get the same, schar. Meaning, even if you refrain from an avera, which is a passive fulfillment of Hashem's will, doesn't generate the same response. For a minhag, we have a kasha, really? Yashavale of avera. A person just sits idly and refrains from avera, he gets rewarded. Noisnim lo schar ka'isa mitzvah. It's just like he did a mitzvah. So we see that even sitting passively generates reward. Amar Lacey says big difference. Depends if he's challenged or not. Hasam. When he gets reward for sitting passively, when he was confronted with an avera, temptation, and he refrained. There, passivity equals reward. Why? It says Rashi, 6 lines from the bottom. Hasam sheba avera l'devar le'yadei hahu yashem v'le'avera de'ka'amar. Not l'eschar. The Bryce, they were speaking about avera sheba l'yadei. V'kafa yitzra. He overcame his temptation. V'le'avar, he held himself back. Ein mitzvah yiseirim yizu. Is there any greater mitzvah than that? You can fulfill mitzvahs 2 ways. Shaking a little, that's an active mitzvah, but then there's holding back when necessary. That's the greatest mitzvah. In fact, the famous Rabbi Yehuda Shari Tshuva says, you know which mitzvah it is? Aside from that, whatever specific thing it was, it's also covered under the umbrella of mitzvahs Yira Shamayim. Right? There's a mitzvah to love Hashem, to fear Hashem. Why does a person refrain from doing something inappropriate? Yira Shamayim. So that's the greatest mitzvah. So of course, if it's just sitting around, that's not a mitzvah. But he was faced with a temptation and refrains, that's a great mitzvah. We have an example. Kihad Rabbi Chanina Rabbi Papit. There was a story of Chanina that Tavase. He was invited by this Hahimatronisa, this noblewoman, to send with her Amar Milsus. So in order to repel her, he uttered some sort of chant or some sort of tefillah, and his body filled with boils. This way she disassociates from him of the Himilsa. So she responded with her chant, V'itzi, and he was healed. Orax, he ran away, Tashabahu by Bani, and he took refuge. He hid in this abandoned bathhouse, which was so dangerous, filled with evil spirits. The island betrayed. Even if 2 people together walked in there, even during daytime, they would be harmed. And he was hiding there and he was saved. The next morning, Rabban asked him, Ma Natrach, who protected you in the dangerous, haunted house? He says, Shnei Gushai Kesar, Naise Kessler, Kishoy Kessler, two of the king's men, Shamruni Kalayla, they guarded me the entire night. Some say he knew that it was Malachim, but he was just being humble. Amalei, so they responded to him, what was this special thing that you experienced? Perhaps you were confronted with a temptation which you resisted. The Sanya Klabad Varvel Yadai, Brisa says, a person is confronted with temptation, if in Nitzel, Heimenu, an ever-related temptation he overcame, just like he overcame his nature, Hashem helps him rise above nature, and he's worthy of experiencing a miracle just like he did. Okay, so in conclusion, we learned about the Shaila of Erlen Chutzlaritz, we learned about the Shaila of Kilayim Chutzlaritz, we learned about Schar in this world, Schar in the next world. We have the story of Rabbi Yaakov, we discussed Shluchim Mitzvah in Zaykin, and the fact that not only does a person get Schar for doing a mitzvah, but he gets tremendous Schar and he rises above the laws of nature when confronted with temptation, which he overcomes. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha.